I'll bring up this Bollinger Band question that really the way the question was phrased requires a bloodhound signal, but there is kind of an alternative way to just answer the question, with some subtle changes, right, to answer this Bollinger Band signal within just BlackBird here. So clear this out, clear out BlackBird, and I'll explain the question here. All right, so here's the Bollinger Bands. So the question that was emailed in from John was basically to buy only the lower band, right? So when price hits that lower band, to only buy, and ignore when price hits the upper band for shorts, right? So no shorts, only buys when price hits that lower band there. And let's see what we have here. Yeah, there we go. So sometimes, right, you get situations where price is constantly, hitting that lower band. And so I got some clarification that really it's only on, the first touch that we submit that order there. So we're going to ignore all the other bars that touch the lower band here when they're all in a sequence there. Right. So we can't quite do that with BlackBird, right? So really the question is about identifying when price first touches or crosses that lower band, and then ignore the rest. However, as we just kind of demonstrated with the RSI question, that BlackBird can only identify if price is above or below some kind of value here. So BlackBird can't actually identify when price crosses below or is below the band, right? That band has to be a fixed value, as we kind of showed, right, within the entry signals. So for the signal source, if you're going to use an indicator-based signal, right, you have to put in a fixed value here, right? So those bands are obviously not a fixed value, right? They're constantly expanding and contracting to show you volatility here. So we can't use the Bollinger Band directly in the signal source here because the Bollinger doesn't provide a signal. So the alternative is that you can have your entry order follow the Bollinger Band. So in other words, there is no discrete entry signal. This would be a fully discretionary type of entry to go long or short based on using the go long or go short buttons here. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to set up an entry order that just follows or traces the lower band or the upper band. So to do that, we'll set up a limit order to follow the lower band, for a long trade, or it's going to follow the upper band for a short trade. Right. So using a limit order, let's see here. So the entry order is to be placed 12 ticks below the band. So let's set that up first for the initial placement. We're going to set the mode to indicator value, right? Because we want to use the lower band value there. And so let's set up the indicator to the Bollinger. There we go. There's our Bollinger. And so if it for a long trade, right, we're using the lower band, and for a short trade, we'll set up the opposite, so the upper band. So, and let's see what next. Okay, so next we need the offset. So something that's also wanted is that entry order is to be 12 ticks below the band, right? So we're taking the Bollinger Band, and again, just to be clear, right, for a long trade, we're using the lower band. And then we're subtracting, right? We're using minus 12 ticks to go below the Bollinger Band, right? So, and then the shorts would be the opposite, right? That'd be a positive 12 ticks. So right? So that's for the initial placement. So now we need to set up a trailing rule so that this entry limit order or limit entry order will follow the lower band as the band goes up and down, right? So let's go into the trailing actions, and we're going to set this to custom. Let's add a trailing rule, and we'll just call this, follow the Bollinger Band. So there is no trigger because we don't need to wait for something to happen. We want this entry order to follow that Bollinger Band always, immediately. So there is no, triggering condition for this, for this entry order to trail that band. So we can just jump straight to the action. And the action is we want to keep moving that entry order, right? Not to the last price, but we want to keep moving that entry order to the Bollinger Band. So we need an indicator value, right? And again, so we're just going to set up the Bollinger Band one more time here. Let's scroll down. Where's the Bollinger? There we go. There's our Bollinger. And again, I'm just using, the default settings here. And select the lower band there. Right, the lower band for longs, the upper band for shorts. Right. There we have it. And then also remember to add your offset for the trailing. So let's put the offset in there for the trailing. Like so. All right. And then, and so you'll notice that because this is an entry order, that the allow movement is set to both directions. So, right, because usually when you're setting up a trailing rule for entry orders, you don't care if that entry order goes up or down, just as long as that entry order's following something, whereas with stop losses, right, the point of a stop loss is you always want a stop loss to tighten up with the trade, so your allowed movement is set differently for stop losses. So, let's put it back to both there. Okay, and so the last step is the repeat, right? We want this entry order to keep following that Bollinger Band on every bar here. So we need this trailing rule to repeat indefinitely, right? Indefinitely until the order obviously gets filled. And then after that, the stop loss here that John wanted is he just wanted a simple 10 tick stop loss with trailing there, or we could use the 10 tick with a break even, either one, but that's all he needed there. So let's see, I'll go a little fancy here and I'll do the trailing with break even there, and that was it. So once we have that, and so now, whenever you're ready to to place that trade, you can just hit the go long button, and let's see here, you know what, I must have clicked on something wrong here, because obviously that entry order is not following the Bollinger. Let's see here, let's just double check. Yeah, all right. Yeah, it is set to the Bollinger, at least for the initial placement. And let's see, yeah, it is the lower band. And let's see here, it's using 2 and 14. What's my chart have? Let's see. Oh, oops, my chart has 2 and 34. A big difference there. 2 and 34 is what's on my chart. So here, let's go and make those adjustments here into BlackBird. All right, so the period is set to 34 on the chart. All right, so there we go. So let's go into the trailing rules now, and then also adjust the Bollinger Band in the trailing rules. Yeah, so 2 and 34. There we go. All right, let's just check the initial placement one last time. Oh, no. There we go. 34. Okay, cool. All right, so let's give this one more shot. All right, go long. There we go. I did see that entry order move a couple of ticks. Oops. Yeah, that's 2 and 34 and 12 ticks. Oh, okay. Yeah, so the Bollinger and the trailing roll didn't hold on to my settings there. There we go. So, yeah. All right, so let's close that out and try that again. There we go. Okay, there we have it. So now that entry order is not moving. It's rock solid. And so as the Bollinger just moves up and down, all right, as that lower band moves up and down, that entry order is going to move up and down as well. And since it looks like the market's moving up, let's go for a short there. It actually, yeah, you know what? It doesn't look like a range chart is actually ever going to hit that 12 tick offset. So let me switch it to a 30-second chart. There. See if we get some action there. Yeah, so it looks like definitely the market would have filled that entry over there as we got that pop up. So, well, and that basically does it. You know, that's kind of a different variation on how the question was emailed in. So this, you know, this variation doesn't use a bloodhound entry signal to automate this. This would be a fully discretionary version, you know, of this, you know, of this topic here of using the Bollinger Band for your entries. All right.